Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here to talk about The Walking Dead and some really interesting news, some exciting news as well, about Rick Grimes. We got some news from Andrew Lincoln, who had an interview recently, and they asked him about The Walking Dead, and he said some really interesting stuff that I think could also make for a great discussion. I'll definitely be interested in hearing what you guys think about these stuff. I'm going to talk about what he said, break it down, and see what that could mean for the show and the movies. I'm pretty excited to talk about it. Obviously, though, general spoiler warning in case you're not caught up with the show. And if you're a fan of The Walking Dead, be sure to hit the subscribe button for more Walking Dead content like this. But other than that, let's get into the video. Alright, so we talked both about the final season and the Rick Grimes movie. So I want to go ahead and start off with the I want to start off with the TV show first, the final season, because what he said is pretty exciting. I will say though that I don't think we should look too much into it, but it is a pretty interesting and fun tease, and something that, like I said, can start a great discussion. So the original interview was with SFX magazine. I am reading this off of comicbook.com. So I'm going to go ahead and read the quote. If you want to read the full article, I will leave a link down in the description if you want to check it out. But let's go ahead and read it. So we said, all right, so let's go ahead and read this excerpt. The context around it is they pretty much asked him if Rick could return for the final season, in the main show. And he said, that's a very good question, Lincoln told SFX magazine when asked about Rick's return to the main show. The easy answer is I have no idea. I don't think it's written yet, but I would never say never to that because everybody that's still doing the TV show are dear friends. And it's an extraordinary feat that they're still going and making this beautiful and groundbreaking show that still resonates with the world. Alright, so that never say never that he said, I would never say never to that. That is sort of what is having people talk, I think, because essentially he's saying that he's game. Like if they ask him to come back to the main show for the final season, he would. I mean, it makes sense. Like, this isn't like that surprising because he is making the movies. But it is also really cool to, see it and, to read it, that he said it himself. That's really interesting. But the reason I want to, the important thing about this is that I think it opens up that discussion of what do you guys think? Like, do you think he will return? I mean, he says he would return. So I guess the better question would be, is it a good idea for him to return? Does it even make sense for him to return? What AMC and the writers, would they bring back Rick? Is there even a purpose to bring back Rick for the main show? Given that he has his movies coming up. I don't know. I feel like you can make arguments about both sides. He's having his movies, so there really is no reason for him to come back. Unless he comes back and those movies are about his time while he was gone. Which I don't know if they would do that, because I feel like that's part of the movies. Like, that stake of, like, is he going to come back? Is he going to find his family? And I feel like if he comes back in the final season, unless he comes back and then goes back. I mean, he takes people with him, which would be kind of insane. I mean, I don't know. But then also I'm saying, like, you could say that, but then also say that, oh, the show started with him, this main show, he should also be there when the show ends. And that's an absolutely valid argument. And that's why I think it is possible, or it's not out of the question for him to return. Or at least the argument is not, out of the question. I mean, look, I'm kind of on the edge about it. I feel like because he has his movies coming up, it wouldn't make sense. So that's me lobbying for what makes sense rather than what the fan inside of me wants. Because as a fan of the show, absolutely, I would love to see Rick in the final season. Like, who wouldn't? Like, that's awesome. As a fan, I would love to see that. But if you think about it in terms of the story, does it make sense? I mean, sure, they can find a way around it. Like I said, like, he comes back. I feel, again, if he comes back and then the movies are about his past, I feel like that it kind of takes away from that question that we're all wondering right now. Like, is Rick gonna reunite with his family? I feel like they would save that for the movies. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I'm definitely interested in hearing your thoughts and opinions about this. I mean, we'll see. We still have, quite a ways to go until that actual series finale, because it's an extended season and all. But I will say this. I think there should be some sort of Rick just some sort of Rick Easter egg. I mean, the boots in Michonne's final episode were great, but I think it'll be nice if we hear his voice or something, along those lines. I think if the show ends and there's I'm not saying that I'm not saying he should return, because again, maybe it doesn't fit the story, and that's totally understandable. But I will say if the show ends and there isn't really a mention of Rick at all, that would be a little bit weird. I feel like there should be a mention of him. What do you guys think about that? I'm going to go ahead and talk about the movies now and that part of the interview, but I'm definitely interested in hearing what you guys think about, his return in the final season. So, continuing the interview, this is with the same interview with SFX magazine. So there's some really cool information that we learned, some information that we haven't really heard before either, so that's really cool. Again, this comes from that interview with SFX magazine. Again, I'm reading this off of comicbook.com. The link will be in the description down below. But first of all, again, he said that they haven't started filming yet, but they're thinking about spring, which is now. So like, earlier they said like spring or summer. So I think they're ready to start filming. They're just waiting, I think, for a good time. When the opportunity, because with the restrictions and everything like that right now, I think they're looking for a proper time, and getting everything in order. But it looks like they're ready to start filming for sure. But this next part was really interesting. He said, and I quote, "I have signed for more than one film," Lincoln told SFX. "I am a producer on it. I will not be directing because I don't like watching myself. So that would be a self-defeating exercise. It would just be the most painful. Yeah, it just wouldn't happen." So he said he's not directing it, but he said he's producing it, which is information we haven't really heard before, and I think it's really cool that he's producing it. I kind of speculated that before. I was like, I think this is something that he could maybe produce potentially. Sign on as a producer, since it is his movie, his standalone movie. And he does confirm that he's a producer, and he does confirm that he has signed on for more than one film. Now, these are things again that we probably have speculated in the past, but it hasn't really been confirmed. So they haven't really even talked too much about him signing on to do this movie. So he pretty much confirms it here that he signed on to do more than one film. So he also mentioned in terms of the multiple movies that, well, first of all, he said we will get answers in the next couple of months about everything. But he said they need to get the first one absolutely right. And that's why it's taking a lot longer than they anticipated. And it makes sense because, they can't have the first movie be, just no one goes to see it. It's still a limited amount of people I feel like who will go watch it. I don't feel like everyone will go watch it. It's not as universal as like a superhero movie. It's, a Rick Grimes movie. I still think it'll probably attract a lot of people who don't watch The Walking Dead, just because that's the way they're sort of making it. I think they said they're trying to make it as a movie that anyone can enjoy. But even that, they still need the movie to succeed, in some level, critically, potentially financially. I don't know, the budget and everything for these movies, but apparently, they're going pretty big scale. But the point is, they're planning to do a trilogy. They're planning to do multiple movies. They just, I think, really want this first movie to set the tone, and to show people that they have a good plan. And that's why they're taking their time with it. And I'm not complaining, it's okay. With movies, I feel like a lot of people are kind of expecting these movies to come out because they do make a lot of episodes of TV in a year. But this is totally different. A movie, movies are in development for years and years and years. So it's totally different than a TV show. So, even though it's been 2.5 years, it seems like a very long time since they announced the movies. But in reality, in terms of other movies, if you're looking at other big budget, film industry movies, 2.5 years really isn't that long. I know it seems like a long time on paper, like they announced it 2.5 years ago. But in terms of, big budget movies, or big scale movies, because that's what they keep referring it to, the scale is going to be a lot bigger. It's really not that long. So I still think it's going to come out in 2022, especially if they start filming, in the summer or spring. And I think it could potentially lead into the final season, because that's also coming out in 2022, or it's probably going to end in 2022. I don't know how that would work, but I think it'll be cool if it some way connects with one another, And the thing about filming is I think once they confirm filming, then we get a pretty good idea when it's going to come out for sure. Because just, development of a movie and pre-production usually takes a lot longer than production. So once they start filming, then we can get like a general idea of when it could possibly come out. But it was really cool to hear him confirm these things, that, he signed on for multiple movies, and also that he's going to be a producer on it. And then also that little tease about the final season. What do you guys think about that? But I wanted to share this information and, open up a discussion to see what everyone else thinks about this. I have a great time reading these articles and sort of speculating on what I think is going to happen, like you've heard me do it for the last while. But now I'm interested in hearing what you guys think about all of this in the comments down below. Do you think there will be some sort of Easter egg with him in the final season? Whether that means we just hear his voice, a little Easter egg, is he gonna come back? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and then also let me know what you think about the movies, and when do you think those are gonna come out as well. As far as this video goes, I am going to wrap it up there, so hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating. And for more Walking Dead videos like this, be sure to subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, please take care, and I'll see you guys soon.